Quantum manifestation works in reverse. Before we begin, let me explain what this message is about. You're about to discover how quantum manifestation works in reverse, a powerful shift in mindset, where you stop chasing your future and start living from it. This isn't theory. It's not wishful thinking. It's a way of aligning your thoughts, emotions, and energy so that life itself begins to move differently for you. It's about attracting success, peace, and abundance, not by struggling forward, but by starting from the end and letting it pull you toward itself. So listen to me carefully. If you feel like life has been passing you by, if you're sitting here thinking, I'm too old, too stuck, too late to change, let me stop you right there. That thought is not the truth. That thought is the trap. And today, you'll learn how to flip that story on its head. Most of us were taught to build life step by step, inch by inch. Work harder, grind longer, climb the ladder, hope you eventually get to the top. But that path leaves people exhausted and empty. The real secret is this: your dream already exists right now. You don't crawl toward it in desperation. You align with it as if it's already done. You step into it in reverse. Think of watching your favorite movie for the second time. You already know the ending. You know the hero wins. The couple finds each other. The problem gets solved. So when you watch the struggles along the way, you're not afraid. You don't panic. You don't doubt. You can even enjoy the obstacles because you know they're leading to the victory you've already seen. That's how life is meant to be lived. Not as an anxious climb, but as a journey from the ending back to the beginning. Let me give you a picture. Imagine someone named Clifford. He's in his late 50s, tired of repeating the same routines, convinced he's missed his chance. But then he learns the secret. Each morning, he sits in silence. He doesn't pray for someday. He imagines his life already complete. He breathes as if it's happening now. He feels the joy of freedom, the laughter of family, the relief of financial security. At first, nothing changes on the outside. But inside, everything changes. His posture shifts, his energy softens, his choices become bolder, and the world begins to respond to that energy. People he hadn't met before show up. Opportunities he wasn't looking for suddenly appear. The reason is simple. Clifford stopped living forward in fear. He started living from the end in faith. You might think this sounds like imagination or daydreaming, but let me be clear. This is not pretending. This is programming. This is tuning your mind and body to a new reality so strongly that the outside world bends to meet it. Here's another way to see it. Your life already has a blueprint. Imagine walking through a house. If you only look at each hallway as you go, you get lost. You panic. You wonder if you're in the right place. But if you've already seen the finished floor plan, every hallway makes sense. Every room connects. Every wall has purpose. That's what happens when you start from the end. You're no longer lost in the middle of the story. You know the design, so the path is clear. Most people live like they're throwing pebbles into a pond, hoping the ripples expand into something big. But in the quantum world, it works in reverse. The biggest ripple already exists at the edge. When you align with it, the waves travel back toward you, pulling you into the destiny that's been waiting all along. This is why people experience coincidences or synchronicities. They're not accidents. They're the ripples moving in reverse, meeting you halfway. Let me tell you another story. Franklin was a man who thought his time had passed. He spent his life doing everything right, but felt cheated by the results. One day, sitting quietly with his coffee, he tried something new. He imagined the end of his story the way he wanted it written: peace, abundance, laughter, family, freedom. He felt it so deeply that for the first time in decades, he smiled without effort. From that day on, little things shifted. His mood lightened, people responded differently, doors opened. Why? Because he stopped waiting for evidence before believing. He believed first, and the evidence showed up after. That's the secret. Life doesn't respond to conditions. It responds to conviction. Most people say, once I succeed, then I'll feel confident. But it's the opposite. You feel confident first, and success follows. Others say, once I have money, then I'll relax. But the truth is, you relax first, and money finds you. This works the same way in every area of life. The world doesn't hand you results and then allow you to feel worthy. You feel worthy first, and then the results show up. It works in reverse. I'll give you a simple practice. Every morning, close your eyes. Imagine your biggest dream as if it's already done. Don't just picture it. Feel it. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Feel the peace of it being real. And instead of saying, wow, please let this happen, say, thank you. It already has. Gratitude is not just a reaction. Gratitude is a signal. When you thank life for something that hasn't appeared yet, you're telling the universe, I've already received this. Now bring the rest into alignment. Think of it like ordering a meal at a restaurant. You don't beg the waiter to bring it. You place the order, you trust, and you wait with certainty. That's how gratitude works. And here's the truth about setbacks. Most of the time, what you thought was a failure was actually a redirection. Harrison once told me, every time I take a step forward, life pushes me back. But when he looked closer, he realized the jobs he lost, the opportunities he missed, were the very things that pushed him into better situations later. At the time, it looked like loss. Looking back, it was alignment. This is what happens when you live from the end. You stop panicking at obstacles. You see them as stepping stones. You understand they were always part of the design. And this is where the alchemy happens. Irving was a chronic overthinker. He dissected everything, always asking, what if I fail again? But one day, instead of asking how to get there, he asked, what does it feel like to already be there? And in that moment, the fear went silent. That's alchemy, turning worry into certainty, not by force, but by shifting the sequence. You don't think your way into belief. You believe your way into new thinking. Time is one of the biggest illusions that keeps you trapped. People tell themselves, it's too late for me. My best years are behind me. But what if time doesn't move the way you think it does? What if instead of counting down your chances, time is arranging itself to deliver what you've already claimed in your heart? Jasper thought time was his enemy. He said, I'm running out of years, running out of options. But then he tried something radical. Instead of chasing time forward, he imagined his dream life complete, and he lived each day as if it were already pulling him in. Suddenly, delays stopped feeling like punishments. They felt like perfect timing. The job offer came when he was ready. The right person showed up exactly when he needed support. Even mistakes turned into stepping stones. Time wasn't working against him anymore. It was flowing from the end toward him. The same is true for you. Time is not a wall closing in. It's a river carrying you to the ocean you've already chosen. Stop saying, I'm too late. Start saying, the right time is meeting me now. And then there's the mirror. Most people look in the mirror and see only flaws, wrinkles, regrets. But the mirror is not there to show you what you are. It's there to reflect who you decide to be. Lester once stood in front of his mirror and saw nothing but disappointment. But one day, he tried a new approach. He looked into his own eyes and said, "I am successful. I am healthy. I am living my dream life." At first, he felt ridiculous. But repetition has power. His reflections started to change, not because his body shifted overnight, but because his energy did. Within weeks, his posture, his tone, even the way people responded to him, began to mirror the words he spoke. The universe is a mirror. It reflects what you project. Here's the question: what are you projecting every day? If you keep saying, "I'm tired, I'm broke, I'm stuck," then guess what? That's exactly what comes back. But if you declare, "I am thriving, I am free, I am fulfilled," even before you see it, life has no choice but to echo it. The reflection follows the declaration. Now think of your emotions as radio stations. Every thought, every feeling is a frequency you're broadcasting. Milton lived for years tuned to the frequency of worry. Bills, problems, stress, that's all he ever picked up. But when he started tuning into gratitude, his station changed. He woke up humming. He smiled for no reason. He gave thanks even when nothing looked different. And slowly, his outer world began to harmonize with his inner music. People described him as lighter. Opportunities began appearing. That wasn't magic. It was resonance. The universe doesn't give you what you say you want. It gives you what you vibrate. So ask yourself, what station are you broadcasting right now? Scarcity or abundance? Loneliness or love? Fear or trust? Because whatever you broadcast is what life will play back to you. And then comes the proof. Synchronicities. Those coincidences you can't explain. Norman used to think life was random. But when he began to live from the end, he noticed strange alignments. He thought about someone and they called. He imagined a new path and a stranger showed him the way. He realized synchronicities weren't accidents. They were confirmations. They were the universe whispering, "Yes, you're on the right track." When you live in reverse, when you feel your future as now, the world begins to nod back at you. That's what synchronicities are. Proof that you're aligned. And sometimes alignment comes through loss. Oliver once built something he thought was his whole life's work, only to watch it crumble. He felt destroyed. But then he remembered the outside world doesn't define him. His inner vision does. So instead of collapsing, he closed his eyes and rebuilt in his mind. He saw the dream complete and life responded. The pieces came back together, stronger and more beautiful than before. What broke didn't matter. What mattered was the belief that it was already whole. Maybe you've told yourself, "This is just my fate." That's not true. Fate is not fixed. It's flexible. You can rewrite it. Xavier once thought his life was finished. Failed marriage, financial ruin, isolation. But instead of living in despair, he dared to imagine a different ending. Every night, he pictured himself surrounded by love, smiling, secure, at peace. At first, it felt like fantasy, but as the weeks passed, his energy changed, his choices shifted, and life bent toward that vision. His relationships began to heal. Money started flowing again. He didn't rewrite his life by force. He rewrote it by claiming the ending first. This is the symphony of your life. Right now, you may only hear scattered notes, a bit of chaos here, a bit of harmony there. But from the end, it all makes sense. Every note, even the off-key ones, belong in the masterpiece. When you step back and listen from the finale, you hear the beauty. That's what your life is. A symphony that works in reverse, flowing from the ending to the beginning. So stop asking, how long will it take? And start asking, how deeply can I feel it now? Because the more real it feels now, the faster life rushes to match it. Here's the most important thing to understand. Your life doesn't begin when conditions look perfect. Your life begins the moment you decide the ending is already written in your favor. Every night before bed, try this. Close your eyes and imagine your dream as if it has already happened. Don't beg for it. Don't wish for it. Thank it. Breathe into it. Feel the weight of it. Let your body know it's real. That's not pretending. That's alignment. That's how you bring the future into the present. Think of Theodore. He walked into a big meeting once, not nervous, not desperate, but with the energy of a man who already knew the deal was done. He carried himself differently, he spoke differently, and the room responded. Doors that had been closed swung open, not because he forced them, but because his presence carried the completion of the story before it was even written. That's the energy of living from the end. People can feel it. Opportunities can sense it. Life rearranges itself for it. And what about starting over? Ulysses felt stuck at a crossroads, staring at too many paths, unsure which one to take. He almost gave up, but then he flipped the approach. He stopped worrying about which path to choose and imagined himself already at the summit, standing at the top of the mountain, looking back. From that view, every step made sense. The fog lifted. He realized the path wasn't hidden. It was simply waiting for him to walk it in reverse. That's the secret. Begin at the end, and the steps reveal themselves. Virgil took this even further. He stopped climbing one step at a time and made what I call a quantum leap. He didn't crawl toward change. He jumped into the energy of already being there. Close your eyes and picture this. Instead of climbing a staircase, you step into the elevator that's already at the top. That's the power of a leap. It's not reckless. It's alignment in an instant. And once you taste it, you'll wonder why you spent years crawling when you could have simply shifted. Wallace discovered another layer of this. He saw his life not as a straight line, but as a garden. When he imagined the garden already in full bloom, everything he did afterward carried that certainty. And slowly, what looked like empty soil started producing. Why? Because the harvest was alive in his mind before it was alive in the ground. That's how miracles appear. They don't grow from doubt. They grow from a vision already complete. Maybe you think your past is too messy, too broken, but even that can shift. Bernard learned to practice reflection in reverse. Instead of replaying mistakes, he looked at himself as the version who had already succeeded. And when he reflected from that place, the lessons came, the ideas flowed, and the pieces of his past lined up into a story that made sense. Even the pain had purpose. And so does yours. Chester found the same truth through small sparks of change. He thought transformation had to come from massive actions, but he learned it often comes from tiny shifts that cascade. One reversed thought, one choice to see a challenge as a gift instead of a curse, sent ripples through his whole life. Those ripples became waves. The waves carried him faster than years of effort ever had. Douglas once thought success was something you chased, but he realized success is not a finish line. It's a companion. It's always there, like your shadow. When he started to see it that way, ordinary days became extraordinary. Opportunities popped up in what used to feel routine. He wasn't chasing anymore. He was walking in step with something that had always been with him, Everett saw it too. He pictured his dream as already complete, and then traced the steps in reverse. Suddenly, daily tasks weren't random. They were puzzle pieces falling into place. He realized life isn't built by pushing harder. It's built by letting the picture guide the pieces. Frederick discovered how his past wasn't broken fragments, but dots waiting to be connected. When he looked forward, the dots seemed scattered. But when he traced them in reverse, starting from the dream already fulfilled, every dot lined up. That's the magic. What feels random in the moment becomes meaningful when you view it from the end. And then there's Gilbert. He stood in barren fields, convinced nothing good could grow. But one night, he imagined the harvest already full. He pictured golden crops bending in the wind, baskets overflowing. And slowly, the barren land responded. Opportunities grew where none existed. That's how miracles manifest, not from soil, but from vision. Maybe you're like Hermann, standing at a crossroads with doubt heavy on your shoulders. His breakthrough came when he decided to stop asking, "What if it never happens?" and started asking, "What if it's already done?" That single question shifted everything. He carried himself differently, he spoke differently, and reality shifted with him. That's not fantasy. That's faith in motion. And finally, there's Irving. He stood on a hill, reflecting on his life, and realized something profound. Every reversed thought, every choice to live from the end, didn't just change him. It changed the people around him. His energy inspired others. His courage awakened something in his family. His example lit a fire in his community. That's the legacy of living in reverse. You don't just rewrite your life. You leave ripples for others to follow. And so here you are, listening, perhaps with doubt, perhaps with hope. Maybe part of you is still asking, but is this real? Can I really do this? Let me answer simply, yes, because it isn't about forcing the future. It's about choosing it. It's about standing in the ending now, feeling it as truth, and letting life rearrange itself accordingly. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, don't drag yourself out of bed weighed down by what you don't have. Close your eyes for just a moment. Picture the life you crave as if it's already here. See it, feel it, thank it. Walk into your day as if it's unfolding in your favor, because it is. Stop crawling forward into uncertainty. Start standing in the ending that already belongs to you. Success, love, peace, abundance, they're not waiting far away. They're here, calling you to step in. This is your reminder. Quantum manifestation works in reverse. You don't wait to feel worthy until life changes. You feel worthy now, and life changes around you. You don't wait to celebrate until the dream appears. You celebrate now, and the dream comes rushing in. So take a breath, claim it, live it. And remember, the ending you desire is not a someday fantasy. It's the starting point of who you are today. Your future is already written. Now it's time to walk in it. Subscribe to our channel and support us so we can keep creating content that helps us all grow.